Hi, I hope all of you are doing well on this fine Wednesday. Today we are going to read Piece by Piece by Stephanie Shaw, illustrated by Sylvie. I don't want to mess up her last name. Once upon a time, a weaver tucked a memory into her collection basket. All day she gathered them up and crunched the leaves. The springiness of moss, the leap, the splash of the fish. At night she wove the day's bounty into cloth. It was rich, exquisite, and unique. "Tell us," asked her children, "tell us where this came from." The weaver held up a piece of fabric to her nose. "Ah," she smiled, "the sweetest of a puppy." "What else?" "The breath of a hot air balloon as it floats against the morning sky and a squish of mud between your toes." The weaver began to sew piece by piece. Every now and then children playing along the bolts of cloth asked, "Tell us about this one," and of course she did. When the garment was finished, she laid it in a box. The bodice of the sparkle of starlight and the skirt full of spring meadow. Along the edges of the lace, like a foam of an ocean wave, tucked in the folds of the gown, the treasures, some dragon scales, a pirate's sash, and a red flash of blackbird's wing. The weaver closed her eyes. She dreamed all she could buy for her children with the money of the dress would bring. Shoes of soft leather, loaves of thick braided bread, sweet crisp apples, and a paper bag of warm roasted nuts. In the village the next day, she held the dress against her so the shopkeeper could see it. "What's this?" the shopkeeper asked, pointing to the shimmering top. "Starlight and candle glow." "I could never sell this," he replied. "What absolute nonsense! I suggest you remove that part." So the weaver returned home. She gently snipped the threads and held the garment together. Piece by piece, pale and shimmering cloth fell to the floor. When the weaver returned to the shop and the shopkeeper frowned, "What's all this?" he asked, pointing to the skirt held before him. "A day when gentle breezes sway in the tall grass and wildflowers," she answered. "Oh, that's too full, much too full," the shopkeeper's wife chimed in. "And what about the floors at the edge, the kiss of the sea as it reaches the shore?" "Well, we can't have any kissing," said the shopkeeper. "That needs to go." So the weaver returned home again. The children watched as piece by piece an indigo night fell to the floor. The chew of a dove, the juiciness of a tangerine, a bit of coral from the tropical reef, a glint of saber, and a scent of chocolate and cinnamon. "I've done as he asked," the weaver said to herself. She slowly walked to the shop. The children ran ahead to the village far, carrying the mysterious package. "Now what have you brought us?" The shopkeeper peered over his glasses. His wife scowled. "The wishes from dandelions on a summer's day," and the weaver, "the whispers of a frog rising from the lake, frost caught in the spider's web." He held a gauzy fabric up to light. "Bah," he replied, "too small, too flimsy. No one has any use of this." But the weaver turned away and used it to catch her tears. She left the shop. The children ran to her. "Come and see what we've made." The village fair. At the village fair, there was displays of gold, honey, bunches of lavender, and a pyramid of brilliant fruits and vegetables. Through row after row and stall after stall, the children ran, pulling the weaver along. Finally, they came to a crowd of people gathered around a quilt hanging between two trees. "Rich," said a woman. "Exquisite," said another. "Unique," said a third. The shopkeeper, hearing the cheers from the squire, pushed through the crowd. He did not bother to look at the quilt. His greedy eyes were on the people, asking where they might buy something so beautiful for themselves. He turned to the weaver and said, "You must sell this to me. And as many more of you can weave, you'll make a fortune selling them from my shop." The weaver touched each piece of the quilt, the blueness of the robin's eyes, the moraine of the sky. She was sure she caught sight of a dragon's scale. "Never," she whispered. That night the weaver smoothed the new quilt as she tucked the children into bed. "Tell us," they said. The weaver moved her hand slowly across the pieces. She stopped when she came to a soft pony's nose. "Once upon a time," she said. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this lovely story, and I will see you